everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's video, we are going to be making your very first Cricut project. Now this is a question I get all the time. What project should I start with? How hard is it? I want something easy. This is the way to go. We're going to make this step by step. I'm going to explain every single step to you in detail so that you know exactly what you're doing and how to do it. We're going to make this adhesive vinyl decal that you're going to be able to stick on anything you want. I recommend starting with some stuff from the Dollar Tree, like some plastic cups, some ceramic mugs. You can get lots of great little blanks from the Dollar Tree, and that way if you mess them up, you didn't spend a lot of money, and you can always replace it really, really easily. So hit the Dollar Tree, grab a few things that are fun that you can stick some vinyl to, and just have fun with it. That's the biggest piece of advice that I can give to you. Have fun. So before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here. That way you don't miss out on any of the other fun, crafty content we have coming. Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be going over every single step to help you make your very first adhesive vinyl project in Cricut. This is a super easy project, so I think that you guys are going to pick up a lot of knowledge. I would recommend having a notebook ready to take some notes or working along with me. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to download a free file. I love working with free files, and I would recommend starting with the free stuff before you pay for any subscriptions, but I'll link down below a few of my favorite sites that I subscribe to. That way you can check them out when you're ready. So we're going to start with this free cactus design, which I will link down below in the video's description for you. What you'll need to do is click download free now. It's going to open up a folder and ask us where we want to save this. I'm going to save this into the folder that I've made for this project. Now, I recommend starting out keeping yourself really organized. Make file folders for different categories of designs that you're using and things like that, and it'll help you in the long run if you start out that way. Now, what we'll do is we're going to click Save. Now, all files that you download from most websites are going to come in a compressed or zipped folder, which means that we need to extract them or unzip the folder. You simply just need to click Extract All and then click Extract. Now, make sure you have the Show Extracted Files when complete clicked, because that's going to open up your folder once it's done extracting your files. We're also going to delete some files because it's a file type you're never going to use, and it's going to help clean up your computer and keep it from getting overrun with stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do is delete these two JPG files. We don't need them for any reason whatsoever. Now they have theirs kind of pieced out into different folders. So I'm going to open Cactus with Flowers. Now you'll notice that we can't see what these look like, but if you right click on them, click View and click Large Icons, I can now see what these look like. So these ones have flowers on them. Now we're going to use a little bit more of a plain design because I want you guys to be able to really see what we're doing. So I'm just going to open this one and show you what this looks like. So these are all our different cactus outlines, and I'll open them. We're going to use one of these, and I want to use one that's going to be easy for you guys to weed. So we're going to use this one here. Now, if I had to guess, I'm going to say that he's file number 6. So let's go look at Cactus 6 and see if that's the one that we're trying to use. Now again, right click View and you can view large icons, and then it'll show you the preview. Now, one thing I want to point out is you have several files here. You have a DXF, you have a PDF, you have an EPS, you also have a JPG and a PNG. We're never going to be using the DXF, the PDF, the EPS, or the JPG for any of this. So I just choose to delete those files right off the bat. You don't have to, but it does help save some space on your computer. Now for this, we're going to be using an SVG, which if you're new to this, yours may show up as an Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Chrome, any of those, but it will be called an HTML document. That just means that you don't have a vector program selected, so a preview will open up in an internet browser. But that is your SVG file. Now we're going to head over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to do every single step so that you can cut this out with some adhesive vinyl. Once you open up your Cricut Design Space, you're going to give a screen like this. Now yours is going to look different, because I'm recording this around Christmas time, so I have a lot of Christmas themed projects showing, but also your images will be different from mine because they'll be based on things that maybe you've searched for or the Cricut thinks that you would like. Now in this main screen, all you simply have to do is click this big green button that says New Project. In Design Space, the only things we're going to worry about are how to make this project. So we're not going to go over all the different buttons, but I'll link below a video where I go through Design Space in more detail if you'd like to see that. What you'll be focused on here is our upload button, which will be the bottom button here. It's a little arrow with a line over top. You're going to click on that. Now this screen's going to show you all of your recent uploads, and if you haven't uploaded anything yet, it'll be blank. But then what we are focused on here is this upload image button. You're going to click upload image. Now you can drag your file here or you can browse for it. So if you click browse, it'll open up your folders and ask you where you want to search. So I'm going to go to my desktop, find the folder I'm looking for, find the folder that has our project in it, open up that folder, open up this folder, and then open up the one I want to use. That's an awful lot, so I do prefer to drag and drop, but you can do it that way as well. Now again, remember we're going to be using our HTML document for this, and you're going to see that your image comes up on your screen. Now I do want to point out it may look a little bit blurry, but that's just something that's going on with Design Space while I'm filming this. It may not be true when this video comes out, but it's going to look a little blurry, and it's okay. It won't be once you upload it. Now from here, you're going to click the continue button down in the lower right hand corner. Because this is an SVG, we don't need to do anything to it, but you can change the name of it. I think this looks like an aloe plant, so I'm going to call it aloe plant. And then you can add tags to it if you want to. So you can do things like plant, cactus, aloe, planter, add whatever tags you want to it. And the tags are for helping you find your design later. You're able to search your uploads and it will search it by your tags. So you can also add it to a collection here if you'd like to, if you have collections. You can also make a new collection, which you can do by just clicking on the plus button, and I can just call this one plants. Click create and it'll keep this into a collection. It's just a way to organize a little bit better. Well, once you've done all that, you can just simply click the upload button down in the lower right hand corner. It's going to add this into your Design Space canvas. And like I said, do you see how it's not blurry anymore? That means it's ready to go. Now what's great about this being an SVG, it's very easy to work with. I chose one that was simple so that you guys can get used to working with Design Space, working with adhesive vinyl with something a little bit more simple. Now you can size your design in a couple of different ways. You can either pull it with the corner pieces, like so, by holding down your mouse button and pulling. Or if you know exactly what size you want this to be, you can use the size options up here. So if I know that I only want this to be, let's call it 4 inches wide, I can easily set that sizing just by using the size options here. You can change the scale on these by using the lock button here. So if I want to make it exactly 4 inches wide and 4 inches tall, I can do that by unlocking our scale. Now that does get into a little bit more complicated type of stuff, but you can definitely play around with that type of stuff and get used to using it. Now I use the undo button so that I didn't kind of squash my plant down a little bit. But I would say for our first adhesive vinyl project, because we're just going to grab this and stick it to anything, I think 4 to 5 inches is a good size for you to get used to weeding. Now I'm going to go ahead and save my project, and I'm going to save this as cactus and click save. Now again, saving a project is important because if Design Space decides to mess up after you hit make, which sometimes it does, you don't have to go back through and do any changes you did to your project. You can just open it from your My Stuff tab. Now, once you've got it saved, once you've got it sized the way you want, all you simply do is click Make. On the Make screen, it's going to show you exactly what your design is going to look like on your mat. So this is the mat that goes into your machine. I'm going to tell you a quick little trick that the mat can go in either this way with the little tab to hang it in, or you can also put it in this direction without the tab. So the machine can either take it top or bottom, it doesn't matter, but it can't go side to side because it is wider. It is taller than it is wide. So you just need to keep that in mind. Now we've got this where we want it. We're good to go. We're going to hit continue in that lower right-hand corner, and it's going to connect to your Cricut machine that you've already set up. So give it just a second to find your machine. If you have one machine, it finds it a little quicker. I have many machines, so I need to select the machine that I'm going to be using, and it's going to take a second to connect, and then this is where we're going to select our cut setting. Now, 99% of adhesive vinyl is going to cut on the vinyl setting, and I'm talking like plain colored adhesive vinyl. So if you're using anything that's like glitter, anything like that, I would stick away from that until you've done some projects with just plain adhesive vinyl. Now, I'm going to link my favorite adhesive vinyls down below for you as well, because they're ones that are trusted, tried, true, I think are really great for beginners because they are really good quality. If you're using Cricut vinyl, it's just not one that I recommend. It causes a lot of frustration. Same with Cricut transfer tape. It's just a little bit too sticky and can cause a lot of frustration. I know when I started, I thought I was so bad at this and I was never going to get good at it. But once I found the products that work well, that are quality, that are really easy to work with, I became so confident and I can make any project that I want to because my materials are quality. So I'm going to be using a StarCraft HD for this, which is a permanent vinyl. So I'm going to cut this on the vinyl setting. So all you need to do is select vinyl. Now let's say, you know what, mine doesn't show this vinyl setting. I don't have it bookmarked. Click Browse All Materials and you're going to search the word vinyl. Now you're going to get a lot of stuff that's going to come up. You're going to see that it's all alphabetical, so scroll all the way down till you get to the V, and you're going to find this vinyl setting. Now, I do prefer to keep it bookmarked, which you can do by just clicking the little tab right next to it, this little like flag, and that will bookmark your project or your cut setting. And then I'm going to select it and simply click Done. Now, it's going to tell you exactly what we need in our machine. Now, clamp A here is the one that would be, if you're looking at the machine on the left, that one's for your pens, your scoring stylus. It's not for your blades. The fine point blade is the blade that comes installed in your Cricut machine, and that is this one here in clamp B. Now, I'm going to show you that blade a little closer up here in a second. That way you can see how it should be seated, because sometimes coming from the factory, they're not always seated quite right, or they get bunched up in shipping or whatever it may be. So always check that before you cut. And then it's just going to tell you that we're going to load our mat. So I'm going to show you all of those steps, how to load your mat, all the good things, and then we're going to talk about how to weed your project, how to use transfer tape, and how to apply it to a blank. Now, these instructions are going to be the same across all of your Cricut machines, so this will really be helpful for any of them. The first thing you're going to want is a green mat. These are made for vinyl. This is the standard grip mat. Now, I don't use the Cricut mat, and I'll link my favorite mats down below. You're going to peel off your plastic, and you want to make sure you keep your plastic. And you'll notice that I have a sticker on mine. That's just to let me know which way the plastic goes down on my mat, because there is a right way and a wrong way. And it also helps me find my little cover if I like drop it on the floor or if I leave it on my desk. Just makes it easier. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you here is our adhesive vinyl. Mine does have a little wrinkle in it, but it's fine. So what you're going to see is you have a colored side, and then you'll have like a paper white side. Now, mine does have a logo on it because this is StarCraft HD. Yours may just be blank, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're putting it vinyl side up with the paper side on to your mat. And if you're just getting started, sometimes loading your mat can be really hard with the whole sheet. So what you're going to do is open up your Cricut machine, and I'll move it a little bit so you can see. I've got my machine open. I use the door to kind of hold most of my vinyl, and then I take my vinyl and just put a little edge here onto my mat, and you want to line it up with the top line, and then just press it down onto your mat. And then you want to load your mat in. Now, like I said, it can go either way, but because I loaded it with the top lining up here, I want to load it this direction. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this into my machine. Now, I also want to show you how to make sure that your blade is seated correctly. So you're going to open up clamp B, and you're going to see that you have your blade here. your blade should just barely be sticking out, and you just kind of double check, make sure it looks nice and clean. You can push this little plunger on the back to push your blade out a little bit just to take a look at it. I actually can see that mine has some gunk on it, so I'm gonna get that off really quick. I cut some glitter earlier, so there was some glitter on there. Then you can just go ahead and place this back into clamp B, close it, and then you're gonna hit the Cricut button, which I will show you guys, that button. You're gonna hit this flashing button right here, which is the C. On some of the machines, it may look like a little play button, but you're gonna hit that. It's gonna cut out our design here on our vinyl, and then I'm gonna show you how to weed this. Now I do want to make sure to mention that if you're using the Cricut Joy or the Cricut Joy Extra, all of your controls like load and unload will be on your computer and not on your machine. Those don't have any buttons, but it's all generally the same directions. Once your machine is done cutting, you're going to see that you have this unload button that is flashing. Go ahead and click on that, and you're going to be able to take your mat out of your machine. Now I'm going to move my machine out of the way and just slide it over so that it's nowhere in our way. And you're going to want a pair of scissors, and you're going to want some sort of weeding tool. I like to use a pin pen, but you use whatever one works best for you. I'm going to take my mat, and you want to flip it over so that it's upside down. Then you're going to gently roll it back. Now you're not going to fold it, but you're going to roll it back just a little bit because your mat's going to be pretty sticky. And if you take it off the other way, you're going to bend your vinyl. So you're going to take your mat and kind of roll it back away. And you see that I'm holding my vinyl down with my hand and kind of pushing it away from the mat. So that way we can get that off. And then you want to make sure you put your mat away. So when you're putting your mat away, you're gonna again use your plastic sheet and you're gonna line that up. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just wanna make sure that any of the sticky part is covered to keep any dust or dirt off of it. And then I just put that away in my drawer. Now, we're gonna cut around our design. So I'm gonna just cut real close. I like to cut as close as I can to my design. And it's a lot easier to see when you're in person versus through the camera. But your design is really simple to see. The first thing that I want you to do is start with your background, so the large piece on the back. So you're gonna start just in any corner, and you're gonna pull that corner back, and then you're just gonna peel your vinyl back. And you'll see that it's starting to reveal your design. The reason I start with the background is I find that it makes it easier to know what parts to weed, because I do see a lot of people struggle with that. So once you have the background off, you can see where the outline is going to be of your design. So then I just start getting some of these outer leaves off because I can tell that for sure those are going to come out of my design. So I'm just pulling these off. Now you can see that I get them started with the pen and then I pull them with my fingers. I just find that easier for me. But again, you find out what weeding works best for you. Just like with any craft, you have to try different techniques. But I just pull them up a little bit and then pull off with my hand, and then I just stick it to the pile of vinyl next to me. And you can go either way. You can start at the top or the bottom of your leaf, whatever way works best for you, and you'll learn as you go. Now it may take you a little bit longer to weed because you haven't done it before, and that's okay. Take your time. But for me, I've been doing it for years, and once you've been doing it a while, you will get used to it, and it will be just as easy as you see here. And then I'm going to finish with that last leaf. So I like to kind of do sections. So especially as a new person, I start with all those leaves and I'm like, okay, my leaves are done. So now let's start with the pot. And I'm going to start at the bottom of my pot because I can see what part comes off. And then I can see where my next section's going to be. And I like to go in a pattern. I don't like to go all crazy all around it because that way you can really easily see what parts need to come off and what parts don't. Now you have your design ready to go. Now these parts are solid because that's the dirt in our pot. So we're all done weeding. The next thing you're gonna need is some transfer tape. As somebody who has been doing vinyl work for many years and have tried thousands and thousands of transfer tapes, I can tell that that will make or break your project. So if you are struggling with transfer tape, try a different kind. But this is the kind I found over years that has worked. I'll link it down below. This is a medium tack transfer tape, and it's from 143 Vinyl. You can use code Corinne anytime you shop to save 5%. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel my transfer tape back a little bit here, and I actually have like a almost perfect little size. Yes, this will work. So what I do, and what you should do, because this is the easiest way to do this, is put your transfer tape sticky side up onto your table. And then I want you to take your decal and you're gonna place it transfer side down. So you're gonna place it vinyl side down. And from here, you can trim this off, but you wanna make sure that you don't trim off your vinyl. So you're just gonna trim a little bit under it. And from here, I'll just show you what it looks like from this side. So this is with the transfer tape on, and then I like to do from the back. Now I have two different types of squeegees. Either one is fine, whichever you like. So, but you want to use one that's a little more pliable and not the one that comes from Cricut. The Cricut one's really, really, really heavy plastic. It doesn't bend at all, and it tends to get a little bit sharp on the edge, so it can damage your vinyl or your blank. Now what you're gonna do is take your squeegee, and from the back, you just wanna press down. You don't need to use all your strength, just like a decent amount, just enough that you feel like you've pressed it down, and you're just gonna press it down a few times. You don't need to do a lot. Now, what you're gonna do is you are gonna take your transfer tape and your vinyl piece here, and I want you to peel the backing away from your vinyl. Now, if you've used a good transfer tape and a good vinyl, this will go beautifully. Occasionally, you'll have a spot that'll not want to stick, and that's okay. You can just help it stay down by just rolling it. Now, do you see how I've got my transfer tape really flat against the surface here? That's how you want to take the transfer tape, the backing off the transfer tape. So I'm just going to gently roll this off, and you can see that my design has stayed beautifully onto my transfer tape. So this is the sticky back part, and then this is the non-sticky side. Now we're gonna get our blank to place our design on. I'm just gonna use this cup because it's what I found. But what I like to do is I'll take one of my squeegees and I will use it to hold my cup. It's so handy because it has that little ridge in the middle and it'll hold your cup nice and still. And then I've got some alcohol wipes, but you can use rubbing alcohol, whatever you got, but you wanna make sure that you clean your surface of your blank. So I'm just gonna take my alcohol wipe and I'm just gonna go ahead and not get it stuck to that. I'm gonna just wipe my cup down where I'm gonna put this. Now this is gonna let it dry for just a minute or two, just until all of the alcohol has dried off. Once the cup has dried, you can take your design and you're gonna place it onto the cup. Now I find that it can help to fold it in half or just very gently place it from the center to help keep any bubbles out. Now I'm just gonna let you know, you're probably gonna get bubbles the first few times you do it, and that's okay. You're gonna learn the techniques, you're gonna have to practice, because nobody's perfect the first time they do this. So you're gonna go ahead and set this down, and you gotta be confident where you want it, but you get it kind of centered where you want it. And then from the middle, you're just gonna press it out, and then you're gonna press it this direction. Now, you can grab your squeegee, again, whichever one you want. I like to use the one that has the felt side once it's on to my blank. That way I don't scratch anything that's on my blank, especially one like this where it's a clear acrylic. And you're just gonna kind of burnish this all over. You wanna make sure that you get the tips of those leaves. You wanna make sure you get the bottom of your pot. All right, once you've burnished it down, you are ready to remove your transfer tape. You should always remove transfer tape from your vinyl. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a corner. It doesn't matter where you start wherever you want. And just like, remember when I took the backing off of the vinyl, I'm gonna do a similar technique with the transfer tape where I'm folding it over and I have it really, really flat against itself at a really sharp angle, and I'm just pulling it away from the design. Now I do wanna keep my hands pretty close to the top of that transfer tape, just so that I have a little bit more control. And if anything decides that it wants to come up, I am able to press it down before we have any accidents. So I'm just rolling this off, and you can see I'm going pretty slowly. You don't wanna like go super quick because you can damage your design. And I'm just gonna roll it all the way off. And we have a little succulent cactus thing onto our cup. It is really cute, super easy to do. So this is a really simple design. This is a great design to start with. If you guys have any questions about working with adhesive vinyl, please let me know down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure to check out some of my other tutorials once you've mastered how to work with adhesive vinyl, because I have a ton that are gonna help you do things like layering and all of that. And I'll link some of my favorites down below for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.